watching. You are watching.
You're watching. You guys are watching.
You're watching. Watching Soulful Discussion.
All right, so welcome back. And let's give the viewers a little bit of a brief description on how we know each other, like how we met originally.
Oh, I was doing yoga on the beach, and you were walking on the beach and asked if I would do an interview with you.
Absolutely. And in terms of the interview, you've had time to view it now and everything. What are your thoughts about the process and everything? Like, is it different from the day we did it to after you viewed it?
I think it's pretty much the same. I thought it was a good conversation. I thought the energy was nice and that it was just super simple and easy. And yeah, we talked before about how I'm usually not in a communication zone when I'm at the beach. I'm doing a lot of internal meditation and prayer and stuff. So it was a bit of a different vibe than it would have been like now or later in the day when I'm ready to interact.
Yeah,
but I liked
you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you had a chance to like view any of the comments or if you've like just been viewing my content in general. What are your thoughts on like where the channel is now?
I think it's great. I mean, I didn't see the comments, but I do see the content that you put out, and I think it's great. I think that people are really authentic and that the conversations are really just open and informative, and I think that there's something amazing that happens when you just let people be themselves and you're just kind of celebrating them for being who they happen to be, especially unexpected the way that you do it.
Exactly.
Because you're like, oh, no time to prepare.
I think when I approached you that day, you were like, you were due for a pedicure.
I was.
Like your toes were like fine though, but I think you said I'm due for one right now.
Yep,
and,
that's what I did later that day. It was my plan. It's like, tomorrow.
It's interesting though because like I always come across women like and like some of them like are sometimes ready, like they just got one the day before. But for the most part, I usually run into the women who are like, oh my God, like I haven't even had time to go and get a pedicure.
Especially pandemic world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's fancy self-care is not as up to par as usual.
Exactly. So let me ask you, like I said, I want to get to some of the questions that so far I haven't been able to ask you, okay? So first of all, what's something that you like, and it could be a hobby that you have, that other people might find to be weird? And I'm using that term weird for a reason. It doesn't necessarily have to be weird, but just other people might look at it that way.
Basically all my hobbies are like I'm really, really into spiritual stuff, mind things, manifestation, things like tarot cards and oracle cards and crystals and energy healing, and that's my jam. Okay. And most people these days, are fine with it. I don't get that many negative comments or responses, but also at this point in my life, everyone knows that's just what I'm into. So if they're gonna be around me, it's gonna come up.
Exactly. Well, first of all, I'm sorry. In terms of like in the past, was there ever a time where people made you feel insecure about your body or a body part?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been really thin. So growing up, and I grew up in the South where people like curvy people. So chicken legs, skinny legs, witch fingers, all that kind of stuff. I got a lot.
Okay. Now, is that something you're still dealing with, or is it something that you've like already overcome?
It doesn't bother me all that much. Every now and then I'll be like, my leg's too skinny. Is this okay? But mostly I'm okay.
Absolutely. How did you overcome it? Like, what was like the steps that you took? Or
I think I just kind of grew out of it. I remember this moment when I was 25. So that all happened when I was like, 14, 15, 16. I was in my office. I was working at a university, and I looked down. I was just wearing office clothes, like skirt and heels and high heels and pantyhose. And I looked down at my legs, and I had this moment of being like, that's a woman's leg. When did that happen? Because in my mind, it was always, you're still 12 in some ways, And that was a moment. And a lot of other things happened around that same period to make me realize, it's something different than what's in here. Let me update this to reflect what's actually going on.
Exactly. And so, and like I said, these questions right here, these were actually introduced to me by my girlfriend. She was like, I needed more mental health questions, and so like I like to see like where people's minds go like with that in terms of that. One other one I have for you, if there was one thing you could change about yourself, and it doesn't have to be physical, what would it be?
It doesn't have to be physical.
It doesn't have to be. So, like, somebody just gave you the power to change whatever you want. What would it be?
I would delete procrastination from this program. That's what
Okay, so procrastination gone.
Yes,
cool.
that's what I would do.
Okay, cool. I don't think I asked you this either, or maybe I did, but we'll go over it again anyway. What would your First of all, how do you feel about your feet? I think I did ask you that. What were your thoughts then? Because just in case somebody doesn't know.
They're okay. I like my feet. I try to treat them pretty well. I know they're kind of long and skinny. People, it's kind of a joke that I have bird feet.
But you wear what size do you wear?
I wear like a 6.5 or 7.
I
don't have to wear narrow
with
shoes.
your height and everything, right?
Like the rest of me is
exactly. So it's proportional.
So I'm okay with it. Yeah.
What would your thoughts be if you started dating someone who's into feet?
It'd be fine as long it's kind of like we were saying last time. As long as the energy feels good, and people are into what they're into. Everyone's got something weird that they like.
Exactly.
So
as much as they might not want to admit it,
somewhere there's just a human psyche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think I asked you this one last time. When you start dating someone, when is the appropriate time for you and for them to bring up things that you're into?
I think it depends on how quickly you're going sexually.
Okay.
Because there are different kinds of relationships. There are ones where you hook up in the beginning, and then there's ones that you want to wait and get to know each other better. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of communication about all kinds of stuff. I like full disclosure. I like to talk about all the uncomfortable things so that you know where you're at. And you can navigate mindfully with it. I definitely think that whenever people start talking about that kind of stuff, that should be brought up.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got a different thing, and I think that a lot of people, maybe more people would be into stuff. It just hasn't occurred to them to be into it.
Yes.
And especially as long as things are done respectfully. I know some people are into not being respected, so whatever, right? As long as it's consensual.
Exactly.
It's fine. Yeah, and I think something like being into feet, it's not that uncommon. It's a whole thing. It's a whole industry. It's a whole thing. So
it's the funniest thing because it's the most common out of all the different fetishes if you look at them, and a lot of people are into it. And it's not even just men. There are women who are into that type of thing. And so it's always odd to me when I meet somebody and they're just completely they don't get it, in that term. But it's okay, some people are closed-minded, some people are more open.
And I'm sure they have something there into that other people wouldn't get. I'm sure, do you?
Exactly. And that's where I ended at. I'm just kind of okay, that's fine, if that's what you want to believe. So, all right. So now let's get back into, can we see what your feet look like again? And we got a different polish.
Yes, we do.
What color is this?
This is pink, fuchsia. I don't remember what it's called. I should have looked.
Okay, and I see that you got the Earth Runners on.
I do.
I remembered the name of them. I did not remember for a while, but I remember now. Earth Runners.
Earth Runners.
And you said these are some of your favorite shoes.
Yeah,
for a
this
lot of
is
people
what I use.
who don't know, I remember you telling me that they have the grounding peg in there. So you want to go over that a little bit more?
Sure. They're made to do earthing. So they have a grounding peg made of brass or something. Okay. And then these laces have some type of something about the fibers grounds you, has electric conductivity. So it grounds your energy into the ground, like being barefoot. Okay. But they have soles to obviously protect your feet.
Sweet. Okay, can we see their feet now without the Earth Runners on? Let's get a look.
With the tan still there.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the thing that I like in terms of a lot of women who do sometimes have that. It adds character, so it makes it a little bit different, but it makes it look more interesting. That's in my opinion. And I can't speak for everybody, but for me, that's something really cool. All right, let's get you to extend your feet out now. Let's see the soles. Nice. So how are you feeling so far? We're going back through this again. You were pretty comfortable the last time. Is it still that? Same. It might be a little bit more comfortable now because we actually know each other a little bit better. We've actually been keeping in touch through Instagram and things like that. So we went over the DDT last time, but now I have something different that I like to go over in terms of the reflexology portion, right? So we tested the sensitivity of your soles, and the last time you said it's all a mind thing for you, right? And so, question for you: how ticklish are you?
Medium. And it's very mental. If I think I'm about to be ticklish, it's worse. But if I just chill, I can work through it. Yeah.
Okay, so on camera, can we test it out with you to see how ticklish you are?
Okay.
All right. And so, can you put both your feet up? We're gonna do one at a time. Okay. And I'll give you a countdown. Okay. And 1, 2, 3.
I'm all right.
Is
See, I'm
it-
prepared. It's
Yeah,
ticklish,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
can take it.
Okay, okay. And so the right foot. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And is it ticklish
Yeah,
and more?
It's probably more ticklish on the right foot than
The right
left,
foot
but
than
it's
the
pretty
left.
balanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you did great. I mean, you hung in there.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Right? In terms of if you think about it, then you're not ticklish, right? So I brought this book with me, right? I want you to try to read the book, and I'm just gonna tickle you at some point,
Okay.
and I just want to see if
Okay.
if it's different, in
Okay.
terms of you knowing when I'm gonna do it to you not knowing when I'm gonna do it. Okay. So let's check this out. Okay. You just read along.
Okay, I'm just reading. Do I read out loud or read?
Yeah, just read out loud.
People need people. Strangers are just friends waiting to happen. Be open to the possibility of forming friendships even when you least expect to. Love deeply and passionately. You might get hurt, but it's the only way to live life completely. Don't settle for being an average person. Each of us is extraordinary. I'm still an individual when I'm with someone. That's
So
just tickle more.
it is a lot different, right? And I thought about that. I was like, okay, because you were able to see me the last time, and so it may have been one of those things where you're like, okay, I know exactly when he's gonna start, so I can hold it up. But in terms of having to read and do it, a lot different, right?
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Cool. All right. So now, I didn't get to ask you this last time either, in terms of what you suggested to me to ask other people. So I'd like for you to do that now. In terms of something that you could say back to my channel, a life lesson maybe you learned, or some great advice from a mental health aspect.
Yeah. Okay. So something I noticed, especially for people who are watching in the Western tech world, we've been trained to think that we're always under a problem of survival. A lot of people look at their issues like they're survival issues, they will not survive if, I don't know, whatever the problem is. But most people, at least in this world, are surviving just fine. And I think it's so important to be wait a minute, how anxious am I about this issue? Is that for real?
Yeah.
Or am I just doing the thing?
Exactly.
Because I look around at so many people who have everything, and then if there's one little problem, then that's all they can think about. And I think that if more people just kind of did justice to their privilege, whatever their privilege is, but was okay, I have these privileges of being born in free nation and having clean running water and having, whatever it is, let me do justice to it and shine, because it's easier for me than some people. And so to hold the vibration of a place that is healthy and provided for, I wish more people would let themselves anchor into that and then build a web of that kind of energy.
I like that. And I like what you said about a lot of people don't tend to appreciate all the things they have. It's quick to look at I don't have this, so you make problems because of that, as opposed to being hey man, I've got this, I've got that. This person over here might not have that. I always mention to people when I talk to them and I ask them how do they feel about their feet, right? I remember a pastor that I had in the past who gave kind of an analogy in terms of a parable, really, about a guy who was complaining about not having shoes, and then looked over and saw the guy had no feet. And it's sometimes we just don't appreciate the most simplest things, but we need to try to do that as much as possible.
And we're taught how to think. And I think it's so important to be wait a minute, how much of what's going on in here is because I'm choosing it, or just because I inherited it from
exactly, whatever, exactly. Well, we're gonna go shoot some more stuff, but for this portion right here, we're pretty much done. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming back out to do it. Any last words you'd like to say to anybody? Anything you want to plug? Anything you have?
Sure, check out my podcast. It's called Stars and Spirits. It's about spiritual stuff.
Okay, and we'll make sure that we plug that link down into the video.
Cool.
Okay. You guys have a great one, and Karis, you have a great one as well, right?
Thank you.
Bye.